Good afternoon, everyone. I hope you've all enjoyed lunch and the lunch speaker. We have a press conference starting right now if anyone is interested to join us. Right now I have with me Stephanie Hansen of the Acre Fund, which does a lot of work in developing areas of Africa. And also with her is Lindsay Wallace from the Mastercard Foundation, which is announcing a really large investment in the Acre Fund to try and make some difference and some change in Africa. And with that, I will turn it over to them.
Thanks, Megan.
Sure. Well, first of all, thank you very much, everyone, for coming. And a big thank you to the World Food Prize for letting us and make our announcement of our partnership here today. For those of you who aren't familiar with the Mastercard Foundation, we are an independent global foundation that was established in 2006 by the generosity of Mastercard Worldwide when they went public. They set aside a number of shares to establish an independent private foundation, and we're based in Toronto, Canada. We focus on two particular programming areas. First one is to help young people in Africa access secondary and tertiary education. But then the other big focus of our work is to increase access to financial services for the financially excluded. And the foundation recognizes that one of the most financially excluded people and those who are suffering from the most extreme poverty in Africa are those who live in rural areas and who engage primarily in agricultural livelihoods. And so that's why we're so excited to be announcing this significant partnership of $10 million to Acre Fund to increase access to their unique financial and wraparound agricultural services to over 181,000 households in Kenya, Rwanda, and Burundi over the next 5 years. Acre Fund is a unique partner for us. We're looking to do more work to support agricultural and rural households meet their financial needs. And Acre Fund has been able to crack the nut of serving very poor rural households with their unique bundle of inputs, financial services, and technical assistance. A key component of our program, in addition to expanding access for 181,000 households, will be to help raise awareness of the Acre Fund model and share the learnings with other members in the financial inclusion sector. So other financial service providers, and we're looking to scale up a movement to try to help banks and microfinance institutions reach more financially excluded households in rural areas. And with that, I'm just going to turn it over to Stephanie and say thank you very much, and just to reiterate how excited we are to launch this partnership here today.
Thank you, Lindsay, and thanks to the World Food Prize Symposium for allowing us to make our partnership announcement here today. We really appreciate that. And I'm also delighted to be here with Lindsay to announce this partnership between Acre Fund and the Mastercard Foundation. Acre Fund is a relatively young, unusual organization in the agriculture sector, and the partnership with Mastercard's foundation will really allow us to scale up our work in East Africa significantly. I thought it might be useful just to give a little bit of context on the Acre Fund operating model, because it is a little bit unusual. We are working now with about 135,000 smallholder farmers in East Africa, and we operate in Kenya, Rwanda, Burundi, and most recently, Tanzania is our fourth country operation. And we do so with a very straightforward operating model of asset-based financing. We take seed and fertilizer and we distribute it very deep into the areas where our farmers live. So in East Africa currently, we have about 1,800 full-time staff. The majority of those staff are individuals who are working at the village level, providing seed and fertilizer to between 150 and 200 farmers in that village area. That seed and fertilizer is brought to the village level. Farmers can pick it up and bring it home, and they actually take that seed and fertilizer as a loan. So instead of paying cash up front at the beginning of the planting season, they receive the seed and fertilizer, on credit, and then they repay One Acre Fund in cash over the course of the agriculture season. One thing that's very unusual about our lending model is that our loans are tailored exactly to the growing season. So in Kenya, input delivery happens in late February. When the rains start in March, the loan term begins, and we calculate the final repayment deadline based on when the rains begin and people actually plant. So when we deliver that seed and fertilizer, we say, as soon as it's planting time, we will give you your repayment deadline. And farmers really appreciate that because they know that we're trying to work with them so that they can be successful at making that loan repayment. Another feature of our loans that's quite unusual is flexible repayment. Most traditional microfinance requires farmers to pay on a weekly or a monthly basis a set amount of money. And One Acre Fund accepts any amount of money at any time during the growing season. So you might make a small payment of $2, the equivalent of $2 in early March, and then you might not have any cash again for 6 weeks, at which point you could give us $8 or $10 if you wanted. But because most farmers have irregular income streams, a flexible repayment system really makes sense for them, and traditional microfinance doesn't serve them as well. The third part of our operating model is extension services. So in addition to providing that seed and fertilizer on credit, our field staff provide agriculture training and education to our farmers at the village level in the fields where they're working. Those are interactive trainings delivered in the field, and our field staff do extensive follow-up with clients to make sure that they actually implement that new planting technique correctly. The last part of the operating model is market facilitation. At the end of the season, our staff work with our farmers on post-harvest handling and storage practices to make sure that they dry their crop correctly and then get it into storage so that they can take advantage of that surplus and sell it when market prices go up. This is a pretty important part of a smallholder farmer being able to increase their income through increased productivity. And we've seen great results from this operating model. Our farmers are doubling their income per planted acre, and 98% of our clients repay their loans on time. And Lindsay could tell us a little more about that, but it's a pretty good repayment rate by microfinance standards. And I think I just actually wanted to highlight the three elements of the partnership with the Mastercard Foundation. The first being to actually help One Acre Fund grow that core operating model to additional farmers. I mentioned that we're currently serving about 135,000 farmers in East Africa. This partnership with the Mastercard Foundation will allow us to significantly scale up our work to 181,000 additional farm families. So this is really catalytic partnership for us, and we're very excited about it. In addition, this funding is going to allow us to make some really important changes to our back-end operating systems, which doesn't sound as exciting, but it's critical for a microfinance organization that's accepting literally hundreds of thousands of loan repayments each season. So this will allow us to further expand and standardize our repayment structures and really build a system that will take us to 1 million clients in sub-Saharan Africa. And finally, as Lindsay mentioned, this partnership will allow us to start exploring movement building. We believe that we've created a really unusual form of finance for smallholder farmers, and we're interested in helping expand that model through partnerships with additional institutions and through teaching people about what we've learned through our work. And that movement building and thought leadership work in microfinance is work that many individuals are not willing to invest in. So we really appreciate the Mastercard Foundation's leadership in this area and willingness to support a very ambitious effort on thought leadership. I think...
Should we take some, if anyone has some questions, we're very happy to speak further on specific points.
Hi, my name is Sylvia Sanitas. I am a science writer for a German magazine, Focus. I'm wondering if you could just, to illustrate what you're doing, explain, maybe find on I'm explaining one family that you've been working for, just, you know, what do they grow, how big is the family, how do they live, how remote are they? Just give one example.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a great question. So the majority of our clients have under 5 acres of land. We work with households, so it's generally a husband and wife and approximately 5 children. That would be the average family size. Would it be helpful for me to tell you about one of our clients in Kenya? Okay, great. So we have a lot of amazing farmers that work with us, and there's so many that I could tell you about. But there's one farmer in particular named Razoa who has been working with us since 2008, and she, R-A-S-O-A, Razoa. And when she first joined One Acre Fund, she grew beans, a pretty modest amount of beans, actually only 1/4 of an acre. But she had a very good harvest, and with that additional income, she was able to put her youngest child, who was performing very poorly in the public primary school, into a private primary school. And then she took a loan again for the next season, and she grew 1/2 acre of maize. Again, had a really fantastic harvest, had her first surplus ever, stored that surplus, sold it, and was able to purchase a cow. She kept that cow. It had a calf, and now, in fact, she's up to 4 cows. And she recently told one of my colleagues that if she wanted to sell her original cow now, which she had paid the equivalent of about $100 US for, because she had bought it when it was quite young, she could sell that cow for about $680 US now. So that's a tremendous return on investment. And I think it really shows that our farmers are very, very smart, and they know exactly what to do with their increased income once they have it. Razoa, her first thing, putting that youngest child into a better schooling environment. She's actually now taken him out of that private primary school and put him back into public primary school, because she's decided his performance is so good now that she doesn't need to spend that money on the schooling, and she can invest that money. She's leasing additional land now with a plan. She told me when I last saw her to purchase that same piece of land, she hopes by the end of this year.
Hello. We are very thankful that you have come to East Africa, where I'm from. I'm from Tanzania, but so far here I don't see Tanzania is mentioned. You said Kenya, Rwanda, and Burundi. That is one of the question, why Tanzania is being sidelined. And again, I wanted to know what are the criteria for a smallholder farmer to qualify for your funds. How much do you inject to a single family? And is it a loan or a grant? Those are my questions.
Okay.
Just to start to talk about the partnership, when we were in discussions about the partnership between One Acre Fund and Mastercard Foundation, they hadn't yet expanded into Tanzania. And so we made the decision our support would focus on their existing programs right now, but we're of course not the only source of resources for One Acre Fund. And as Stephanie mentioned earlier, I think before you arrived, they are now expanding into Tanzania. So One Acre Fund is coming to Tanzania. In terms of the loan or the grant, do you mean what One Acre Fund gives to the farm family, or what we're the partnership here? Because this is a it's a grant. It's a grant partnership that we have.
You're right.
Yes.
So I wanted to know
Okay.
how much do you give a grant or just a loan? In the long run, that fund is going to fund.
Yeah, well, don't say just a loan, because we actually think a loan is more powerful than a grant for the way that we work with with farmers. And our average loan size is about $70 US. That would cover one agriculture season in Kenya or in Tanzania. And that would cover 2 agriculture seasons in Rwanda or Burundi. And I think you asked about the qualifications to receive that loan. You say you're a farmer in Western Kenya, you have 3 acres of land and you would like to take a loan from us. The requirements are very simple. You have to become part of a group of 6 to 12 farmers, and you have to agree to repay your loan by the repayment deadline, to do your agriculture activities with your group, so planting, harvest, weeding, and to attend all of the One Acre Fund training sessions. So there are no collateral requirements, there's no savings requirement, we don't require any a deposit or anything like that.
And this is one of the reasons that we decided to partner with One Acre Fund. It's been very difficult for the financial inclusion sector to actually reach households and provide loans of this size on a sustainable basis that has the impact that we've seen. The households that are participating in One Acre Fund, the One Acre Fund program, they're doubling their income, which is, hugely significant when, you're for this. I mean, it'd be significant for everyone, but particularly for smallholder households. Any other
questions?
My name is Henry Lutaya. I'm a journalist from Uganda.
Oh. Hi.
Of course, I've not heard about Uganda. Secondly, what's your scope over the coming years? Thank you.
You're right that we're not currently working in Uganda. We are considering Uganda as a future expansion country. We're actually just evaluating some data that came back from a scouting trip in Uganda last month. So I would say in the next 5 years, it's very likely that we will start working in Uganda. In terms of our overall scope looking forward, we are planning to reach over 1 million clients by 2020. And that would basically entail opening 1 new country operation every 18 months between now and 2020.
Any other questions? Oh.
Do you expect it to extend wings in other regions after this East Africa? Do you expect to go to as far as Congo?
No, it's okay. It's okay. We don't have any plans to work in DRC at this time, but we are looking at other regions of sub-Saharan Africa. So we have a trial in Ghana currently. We are considering some trials in Southern Africa. So yes, we will expand beyond East Africa.
Okay. Anything else? Well, thank you all very much again. We really appreciate this opportunity. So thank you very much. And there are some press releases at the back.
Yeah, some press releases and some one-pager about One Acre Fund's work as well. So feel free.
Thank you.